Hey, what's going on, everybody? Jeff, or J-Man Espresso, and we're back with another video for you today. So today we're going to be doing some more Battlefield 3 beta coverage, and obviously here we are on Operation Metro. So what we're going to be doing today is just a little bit different than just some gameplay. I wanted to talk about one of the major changes in Battlefield 3 as compared to Bad Company 2, and really most other modern shooters out there, and that is the weapons tier ladder, or the weapon unlock system that DICE has implemented for unlocking all the weapons for the classes. So the gameplay here is like a compilation of 3 different games. I believe it's all from today. One of them might have been the day before, and it's all going to be defending on rush here. Alright, so that means I'm going to be using the engineer kit the whole time. That's pretty much what I've been using exclusively. I may switch to the assault or the support before the beta is over, or I may see how far I can go with the engineer kit before the beta is over. I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. So the weapon we're going to be using today exclusively is the AKS-74U, as opposed to the other engineer weapon, which is the M4A1. So what I'm going to call this, I'm going to call this one here, I'm going to call this the other engineer kit. Alright, and that's because at first, like the first handful of games that I played in the beta, I kept getting kicked out of servers, and I would hop in, play a game, and then as soon as the game over, I got kicked out. And that happened for the first I think it was the first 10 games I played. And I thought it was just how they were doing it, so you always had to find a new server, so they were always rotating, so that more people could get in or something. But I found that it was just a bug, and I was just getting kicked out. So when I finally got a match where I was where I stayed in for a whole game, and I finally got to defend, I go to choose my weapon, and I'm like, where is my where's my M4A1, where's my gun? But all I find is this weapon here is, the AKS-74U. So I realized at that point that, DICE made a major change with their weapons here. So I looked into it a little bit, checked out on the, battle log to see how it works. And, what they did here, as you guys know, Medal of Honor came out last year, and DICE developed the multiplayer. And, aside from most people not liking it, saying it was just, could have been a lot better, I thought it was a pretty good game. But really, at the end of the day, what it was a way for DICE to try a bunch of things that they wanted to do in Battlefield 3 and be able to make those changes as compared to other conventional shooters, and present it to a similar audience that Battlefield 3 would be presented to. To kind of gauge their reaction, to see what it was going to be like, to see if that was something that they should do. And one of those things that they ended up keeping was the weapons tier. Alright, so, most shooters, you have your assortment of weapons, and you unlock the weapons by leveling up. Now, maybe you have a Call of Duty style weapons tier where you just have, a pool of weapons, and, the way you unlock, each successive weapon is just by, leveling up. So, it doesn't matter if it's an assault rifle, light machine gun, submachine gun, sniper rifle, shotgun, pistol, you just unlock them by leveling up. There's just, a random order to them, however the developer set it up, and that's what you get. Or you have Bad Company 2, where you have an assortment of weapons, and they're separated into classes. So if you want to unlock the submachine guns, you play the engineer class, or the light machine guns, you play the medic class. Now, that's how it is here in Battlefield 3. Alright, the weapons are pretty unique to each class, so most of the submachine guns are with the engineer here, the assault rifles with the assault class. But there's almost 2 classes for each class, basically. There's two teams, basically. Alright, you have the American weapons, and you have the I guess you call it the Russian team. Alright, and the way they've set it up on this map is, if you're attacking, you're always using the American weapons, and if you're defending, you're always using well, they're definitely not all Russian weapons, I don't think, but I think a large chunk of them are. But let's call them the Russians for the time being. So like I said, I had started out and I was using the M4A1, you know, started to unlock a couple things, started to kind of find my groove, and as I said in one of my other videos, and it still is true to this day right here, that's probably my favorite weapon so far. You know, I finally found my favorite weapon in this game. Well, not finally, I found my first favorite weapon in the game. Started to really click with it, started to really like the way it was working. And then I come to this weapon here, and I'm like, what is this business? You know, this is not the weapon I was using, and it's a totally different weapon. I mean, DICE didn't just give you, you know, weapons with different skins on them for each class. They gave you 2 completely different weapons for the classes, and it's not just 2; it's every weapon. I mean, like each one as you unlock is going to be, you know, different for each, you know, level that you get to. And I imagine maybe when you get to a certain level, it won't matter. You'll just be able to use whatever weapons you want. But like for here, the first one's the AKS-74U, all right? Compared to the M4A1, the recoil is totally different. I like to describe it as the recoil on the M4A1 is nice and refined, predictable, and it doesn't change a whole lot depending on how you're firing. Whereas the AKS-74U, it's a little more sloppy. You know, it's exactly what you would expect from like an AK-47 variant. It's jumpy, it moves around a lot. You know, it's a sloppy weapon, and it sounds, you know, just like not as a refined a weapon. And that's what you'd expect from an AK-47 variant. You know, pretty much the standard go-to assault rifle for, you know, anybody except the American armies on the planet. So, you know, that's a very interesting dynamic that DICE has introduced to the game, and I really think it changes the way that we're going to play the game. You know, maybe in a positive way for some people, maybe in a negative way for some people. You know, at first I wasn't thrilled with it. You know, when I first saw that the weapons were different, I was like, well, you know, now it's not just whether or not you like the engineer kit. It's, you know, okay, well, I want to play the engineer kit, but only if I'm, you know, playing that team. What if I don't like the weapons I have available, you know, for the other team? So that's something to definitely think about, you know, when you're choosing your kit. But once I realized that, and I kind of saw why DICE did this, this is going to give the game so much more longevity, because it's not just like when you're playing the engineer, you're going to unlock the engineer weapons and go from there. You're going to play the engineer, and you're going to have to unlock the entire class of weapons for one team, and then maybe, you know, maybe at first, like, you know, for me, I didn't like this weapon at first, so I was playing the engineer, and then when I saw this was the weapon, I started playing the support. You know, I tried on that for like 1 or 2 matches, and then went back to this, but, you know, you have a totally different weapon to use for what team you're on. So, like I said, that's going to add a lot of longevity to the game, and, you know, I think in the end, I think that was a real smart move that they did, and it was something that positive that they were able to get from Medal of Honor. Now, in Medal of Honor, when you got to a certain level, it didn't matter if you were the Americans or the, you know, there it wasn't the Russians, was it? It was the, what were they? The Arab insurgents. But, you know, the weapons were, you know, unique to each one. You had, like, the M16 and the you know, the M14 on one, the M4A1. And then you had, you know, the AK-47, different shotguns and whatnot. So, what does that mean for the playstyle of Battlefield 3? Well, one main thing is, you know, alright, here, in Bad Company 2, you know, you played the engineer. You didn't always play it because you needed to be an engineer, like you needed an engineer, you know, for the match, alright? A lot of times, you play the engineer because, you know, you like those weapons, you do the best with those weapons, right? You know, of course, sometimes you play the engineer because it needs to be done, but, you know, if, let's say you're playing a squad deathmatch, you don't need to be an engineer. You don't need anti-tank weapons and anti-material weapons for, you know, squad deathmatch. But you play it because you like the weapon, all right? Well, that's something you're going to have to think about here. What team are you going to be on? You know, because maybe you very much like the American-style weapons, but you don't like the other side weapons, you know? So just something to think about. Definitely a very nice dynamic. Definitely something very different. And I'm glad to see it. I'm glad that they decided to do it this way. I think it's going to add a lot of legs to the game, and I think it's going to add a lot of variety to the game as well. Just a whole lot more to, you know, to do and to see. So that's it. Just a quick discussion on the weapons tiers, and we'll be back with some more Battlefield 3 videos for you very shortly. So hope you liked it, and if you did, make sure to leave a comment and go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. All right, everybody, that's it for now. Take care. See you later.